Hey Falcons fans, we've got a lot to talk about when it comes to the future of our team and what's happening right now. So, let's dive in. Enjoy the video, and don't forget to drop a comment below sharing what you think the Falcons should focus on to make the right changes. First up, let's talk about the salary cap situation for 2025. Michael Penix Jr.'s rise as the Falcons' starting quarterback has brought some much-needed hope after 7 long years without a playoff appearance. In his first 3 starts, Penix has shown some serious talent, and it's hard not to compare him to what Jayden Daniels did for the Commanders last season. Penix has that game-changing ability the Falcons have been missing, but the path back to playoff contention won't be easy. While Penix could help cover many of the team's weaknesses, a true Super Bowl contender needs more than just hope. It needs smart roster moves and careful spending. Sadly, that's where things get tricky for Atlanta. Last offseason, the Falcons handed Kirk Cousins a huge $180 million contract, with $90 million guaranteed. Looking back, that may go down as one of the worst decisions in the franchise's history. Not only did Cousins fail to deliver as expected, but now his contract is putting a serious limit on what the front office can do this offseason. Here's the reality. Atlanta is projected to be $7 million over the salary cap, ranking 27th in the league. Remember just a year ago when GM Terry Fontenot was praised for getting the team out of cap trouble? Well, now they're back in it, thanks to that Kirk Cousins deal. It's a tough situation for a fan base that's starving for success. The good news? This isn't a long-term crisis. Most of Cousins' guaranteed money will come off the books after next season. But for 2025, the Falcons are in a tough spot. So what can they do to free up cap space and stay competitive? There are a few options to explore. The team could restructure contracts for key players like Chris Lindstrom and Jesse Bates III, both of whom are crucial to the team's future. An early extension for star receiver Drake London could also be on the table. And, of course, the best-case scenario would be finding a trade partner for Cousins to clear that hefty contract. However, his no-trade clause makes that move a lot more complicated. No matter what happens, don't expect Atlanta to be big players in free agency like they were last year. The reality is that the Falcons have limited cap space and only 4 picks in the upcoming draft, thanks to previous trades and tampering penalties. Fontenot and head coach Raheem Morris have to make every move count this offseason. If Penix doesn't deliver, or if the roster isn't strengthened enough, the team could face another disappointing season. We could be staring down an 8th consecutive season without playoff football, and honestly, it's hard to see how Fontenot and Morris could keep their jobs if that happens. So, Falcons fans, what do you think? Should the team do whatever it takes to trade Cousins and free up cap space, or is restructuring other contracts the smarter move? Big changes are coming in Atlanta, and we're here to break it down for you. The Falcons just signed offensive lineman Matthew Cinderic to a reserve/future contract. You might be asking, who is Cinderic? Well, he's an undrafted free agent from Cal who spent time on the Falcons' practice squad last season. Cinderic is a versatile player, having played both center and guard in college. He also had stints with the Vikings and Jets before returning to Atlanta. This signing marks the 14th reserve/future contract made by the Falcons since the season ended. Here's the full list to get you caught up. QB Emory Jones, WR Philip Dorsett II, RB Elijah Dotson, WR Jesse Matthews, WR Dylan Drummond, OL Joey Fisher, OL Javon Gwynn, OL Tyrone Wagley Jr., DL Jr., IODB Lamar Jackson, DB Ked Kareem, DB Benny Sapp III, WR My Pokey OL Matthew Cinderic. Clearly, the front office is focused on building depth and creating competition as we head into the offseason. Now let's shift gears because the Falcons are also deep into their search for a new defensive coordinator. On Tuesday, Michigan's Wink Martindale was interviewed, and former Bengals DC Lou Anarumo is next on the list. The Falcons' defensive struggles were clear last season, so this hire is absolutely crucial for the team's future success. Stay tuned to our channel for all the updates on this developing situation. But that's not all. There could be some Blockbuster trade news coming soon. Every offseason, there's usually a star player who wants out, and this time the Falcons could be in the mix for all-pro cornerback Jaire Alexander from the Packers. Alexander has dealt with injuries and has had a rocky season in Green Bay. He skipped out on speaking to the media during a locker room cleanout, and his relationship with the Packers seems to be on the rocks. Despite these issues, Alexander is undeniably talented when healthy. He's missed significant time the last 2 seasons and has had some attitude concerns, including an odd suspension for showing up to a coin toss when he wasn't a designated captain. But, even with those red flags, he's a 2-time All-Pro and could be the perfect complement to A.J. Terrell in Atlanta's secondary. The big question is, will the Falcons make a move? The big question now is whether the Falcons are willing to take on Jaire Alexander's massive contract and whether the Packers are even open to trading him. What do you think, Falcons fans? Should Atlanta go all in on Alexander, or is the risk too high because of his injury history and contract situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Meanwhile, the Falcons have officially started their search for a new defensive coordinator, and they haven't wasted any time. Don "Wink" Martindale was the first candidate to meet with the team on Tuesday. Martindale, who spent last season with Michigan after coaching the Giants, brings a ton of experience. He had a long run with the Ravens, where he helped build one of the most respected defenses in the league. Next on the list is former Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, who is set to meet with the Falcons on Thursday. Anarumo is known for making smart, strategic adjustments and played a major role in the Bengals' back-to-back AFC Championship appearances in 2021 and 2022. His defenses were flexible and great at making halftime adjustments, exactly what the Falcons need right now. But there's a twist. The Falcons can't finalize their hire until they comply with the NFL's Rooney Rule, which requires them to interview at least one minority candidate. While Martindale and Anarumo are the top contenders, expect the Falcons to consider other highly qualified candidates in the coming days. Now, let's talk about the current state of the defense. Head coach Raheem Morris made the decision to part ways with defensive coordinator Jimmy Lake after just 1 season. Lake's defense struggled, finishing in the bottom half of the league in 3 of the 4 major defensive categories, ranking 23rd in total yards allowed and 23rd in scoring defense. It was clear the Falcons needed a new direction. Morris has emphasized the importance of building around key defensive players like A.J. Terrell and Jesse Bates III, both of whom had standout seasons despite the team's struggles. He also praised linebacker Caden Ellis for his growth, but he acknowledged that the front 7 needs a lot of work, especially after the Falcons finished 31st in sacks last season. Looking ahead, there are still other potential candidates in the mix. Former Falcons assistant Jeff Alr, Steve Wilks, Leslie Frazier, Marvin Lewis, and Dennis Allen have all been mentioned as possibilities. Each brings a unique mix of experience, from Alr's time with the Falcons to Wilks's recent defensive work with the 49ers. Let's be honest, this hire is huge. The Falcons haven't made the playoffs in 7 straight seasons, so getting this decision right is critical. If they do, and they can pair a strong defense with the emerging talent on offense, this team could finally be on the right path. So, what do you think, Falcons Nation? Should the team go with an experienced name like Martindale or Anarumo, or take a chance on someone new? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's get this debate started. And remember, hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated on everything Falcons. Go Falcons!